49ers, it came out today, are Super Bowl favorites. I got to admit, that was kind of shocking to me. I definitely, it's clear that they are one of the 4 teams that should be considered in this, but it was a little shocking to me to see that they were Super Bowl favorites at this very moment. Do you think that's a little bit premature? Do you think they should be Super Bowl favorites? And if you were laying your money down, where would you put it?
Yeah, I mean, and just for clarity, it depends on what gambling site you look at as far as who's getting the odds, because I've seen some where they're not the favorites. They're, the Eagles are a favorite ahead of them. So it kind of like, but we did see the one that we were talking about. And as far as, it's I understand why, because you look at the 49ers and basically like when they're on, they're winning by multiple scores, right? And they have an offense that could score over 30 points. They have the number 1 scoring defense in the league, keeping you under 15 points. And that's kind of been what the scores have been consistently, no matter the caliber of team. Now, obviously, they had the 3-game streak where they were only able to score 17 points. But if they can score more than 17 points, it seems like they're going to win, and they're going to win pretty handily. Now, is it premature? I mean, I think that these stats, these lines are going based off of projections, based off of where teams are trending. And you got to say, I mean, the 49ers, big win against the Seahawks, big win against the Jags, like dominant wins where these teams have, been able to get some big wins themselves. It's hard to say that they're not, even though, interestingly enough, we saw the Eagles just go out and beat the Super Bowl champs. So am I ready to put I'm always ready to put my money on the 49ers, but is it premature? I think no. I mean, obviously we have a game that's going to really show what the 49ers are capable of, this Sunday. But as of now, based off of how they're playing, it's there's an easy case to make that the 49ers are the favorites.
Yeah, I think that there's definitely a case. I think you can lay out a case for any of the top 4 teams. And to me, the top 4 teams are the 49ers, no particular order, but 49ers, the Eagles, the Chiefs, and the Ravens. I think for the Chiefs, hey, defending Super Bowl champions, they've beat the Eagles and the 49ers in a Super Bowl, although vastly different teams, right? But overall, they've been to the Super Bowl 3 years out of the last 5 or whatever. They've won 2 of them. They know how to win in big games. Their defense is better than it's ever been. You would expect that their offense would eventually catch up with Patrick Mahomes and Kelsey and Andy Reid. So, and most likely they're going to be the number 1 seed over there. So you could see that. You could see the Ravens just because Lamar's so dynamic. Their running game's always dynamic. He's the best he's ever been as far as a passer, and their defense is really good. Okay, you can make a case for them. We know the 49ers. The 49ers have the best roster in football, I would say. I mean, it's maybe debatable, but I think they have the best roster in football. So you've got that going for you. And this is a team that is constantly around the Super Bowl. They've been to 3 NFC championships in 4 years and look primed to go to another one. They've been to a Super Bowl. So they've been there. And then the Eagles were just there. They just beat the Chiefs, which was a big win for them. They've beaten teams like the Dolphins and the Bills over the last few weeks, and they have a very talented roster. So I think you can make a case for all of them. For me, at this moment, though, before they've actually beaten the Eagles, it's hard for me to say that they're above the Eagles. Ask me again Sunday, and I expect them to win the game. If they actually win that game, then I would say, all right, yeah, give me the 49ers over the Eagles for sure.
Yeah. And I mean, the case is also when you look at just the stats and where these teams rank up, the 49ers have a top 5 defense and offense. And I think they're the only team that could really say that. You're right. They're top 4. I think they're ranked 4th in scoring offense and 1 in scoring defense. So when you look at it that way, it's just hard to argue that this team can't beat anybody, even the teams that you mentioned. But ultimately, it's not about what you do in the regular season. It's about what you do when there is no tomorrow. So Yeah, it's nice to feel this way about your team this late in the season.
I agree with that. All right. I started this comment. I think it's a good one. Nee says, why are we praising Hurts so much for lackluster bad starts and then stepping up at the end? Shouldn't we want to see him B, maybe
Be
just B?
consistent.
Yeah, be
Yeah.
consistent for 4 quarters. Feels like the arsonist firefighter syndrome. I don't know. I think he's playing good. I don't think he's playing great by any means, but when you can come from behind and be the reason that you're coming from behind so many times, I think that's important. I also think when a player is on pace to get 45 total touchdowns in a season, you're having a good season. I posted something yesterday saying how clutch he was, or 2 days ago. And I got so many people that were mad that, oh my gosh, how can you praise a team other than the 49ers? It's like, well, it's okay to say that another team is good or another player is good. It's not an indictment on your favorite team or an indictment on your favorite player. It just means that that other team's good. You can recognize what it is. The Eagles are a good team. Jalen Hurts is a good quarterback. It's okay. It doesn't mean they're going to win the game. He's playing good football. He is. Yes, he's turned the ball over quite a few times, more than you would like, but he's also on pace for 45 total touchdowns. He averages a rushing touchdown a game on top of what he's throwing. So, yeah, he's a good player. He is.
Yeah, and I think you can look at it the opposite way as well, right? What if Jalen Hurts was awesome for the first 3 quarters and then crashed out in the 4th quarter, right? What would you rather have in a quarterback? Somebody that, and I don't even think you could really say Jalen Hurts is struggling in the first 3 quarters, but not as good as he was necessarily last season. But when push comes to shove, he's making some amazing plays when it matters against really good teams in really important moments. To me, you're looking for that clutch gene. And I think one thing about Hurts is he brings so much off the field as far as leadership. I was watching First Things First, and I think Nick Wright was talking about how they did some kind of like heart monitor on Jalen Hurts in a game. And when he's out there playing, his heart rate is actually lower than when he's on the bench watching the defense play, because when he can't control the outcome, he's more nervous than when he has the ball in his hands. And that's like really insane when you think about it, that he's more calm under pressure than he is when he doesn't have an opportunity to be in control. So I think that's the type of makeup you want in a quarterback, and he's shown like the Eagles have been legit ever since he's been the full-time starter there.
Yeah, I mean, I think their record over the last 2 seasons when he's starting is 26-3. I don't, and I wins are not a quarterback stat. I fully understand that. But when you look at the breakdown of that team, it is a very talented team. A.J. Brown has made a major impact on him. But when you look at that team being in first place for a majority of last year and then doing it again this year, that at some point, that's not a fluke. And he is a big reason when they have situations that are gotta have it scores, he's consistently delivering in those situations. He's done it for 4 weeks in a row. That is not a fluke. Regardless of what happened to get there, that's not a fluke. If Brock Purdy played really bad in the Cleveland game, but if they would have made that field goal, everybody would have been jumping to his praises. Hey, it doesn't matter how bad he played well when it mattered most. Well, then we should be able to say the same thing about Jalen Hurts. Even if he's played bad, sure, when it's mattered most, he's nutted up and he's gotten the job done. Keenan says, 2 months already. What's up, fellas? 2 months already. That's pretty fast. Thank you for supporting, Keenan. I appreciate you. And Omar says, I'm a new member. Appreciate you, Omar. Appreciate you. All right. The stream is turning around. I feel good about it now. The second half of the stream is going to be much better.
That's it. Just like Jalen Hurts.
Yeah. Hey, we don't start strong on Last Second Sports, But when the stream's on the line, we come through in the clutch. Gosh damn it!